Hi Chris, welcome to my man cave.
We're in Richard's studio in his garden, and he and Daniella and Katie and Emily and me moving on from Hope. And we just thought it would be a good opportunity to hear from Richard some of his experience of being part of the church. Daniella is busy working, so she can't be with us sadly. But so I want to ask Richard, one of our desires as a church is that everyone who's part of Hope for however long, 20 years is probably a record on Richard's case, for however long, whether it's a short time or a long time, we want everyone to be growing in their faith and their walk with God and able to use their gifts and so on. And over that time, I think of Richard, and I picture him in a purple apron on the breakfast team when I first arrived at Hope, and he made a film about Hope with Joe Watson. The beach and boat drape painting, the big painting is a Richard artwork, and been leading Soup Run for many years, involved with Night Shelter, and done some brilliant creative things, particularly with children, but right across the church. And so I just wanted to ask Richard for a few little insights really into what your journey with Hope has been, and obviously meeting Daniella and Katie and Emily being born was so precious to be part of that within the church community. Lots in there, Richard. What would you where would you start?
Yes, it's been quite a long time. So I joined Hope I think about a year after it had started, so I think about 20 years ago, when it really was just a small group. In fact, we all, because we took the church over, it needed a huge amount of work done. The balcony and the foyer and the roof needed serious work. We used to all meet in the back room, so the entire church crammed into the back room while they were doing building work. And I joined having come out of a long time, but I'd been married, and that sadly didn't work out. So I came very much kind of bruised to the church, and the church just hugged me for 6 months while I kind of went through that. I then met Daniella, who, if you don't know, I snatched her from Germany. We were working together at a film company in Germany, and after a long sort of bouncy courtship with lots of European visits, persuaded her to come over, and we got married in Hope, and both Katie and Emily turned up quite quickly. And in fact, one of our girls, I think it might have been Katie, kind of did her first steps in church during the service. They've all been involved. One of the things I got involved with immediately was the breakfast team. It was a fantastic way of meeting people for the first time, and often you're the first person that people have in contact when they come to church for the first time, and that's always a joy. And then trying to put people together, talk to them, find out what they do, if they know anyone, and kind of buddy them up. And that has always been a real a really lovely thing to do. And right from pretty much the first 6 months, I started working with Kate Wassop, who was then running the Soup Run, and I've done that for the entire time I've been at Hope.
What would you say is this, if we go into the Soup Run thing, and so one of Hope's real dreams is to be a family of people on the margins, and that's a sort of core and important thing to Hope. I love that verse in Isaiah where it says that as you serve the poor and the vulnerable and the broken, actually our healing appears as well. And we can kind of think sometimes that we're going out to help people, and there is an element of that. We're going out to serve people, but it's also restoring for us. That act of connecting with people. Has that been your experience?
Oh, absolutely. And I can put my hand on my heart and say everyone in the Soup Run has had this feeling occasionally where you turn up on a Wednesday night thinking this is the last thing I want to do. I've had a really busy day at work and juggling lots of other things, and really I just want to have an early night and go to bed, and you just think, I just don't want to do this, and you prepare everything. There's great fellowship between the team, which is always lovely and kind of healing. But when you hit the streets and serve these amazing people who are just at the bottom of the pile for often not their own reason, not their own fault, all sorts of reasons, and you come back and you go, you know what, I have been really blessed by going out and blessing people. And I think without exception everyone of my team would say the same. And God just uses us in so many situations just to make people's lives that little bit more warmer. And yeah, it's a sticking plaster at the end of the day. There's other organisations who do more kind of deep work with these folk, but yeah, we just make sure no one needs to go to bed hungry.
Yeah. I'd like to ask you two other questions. One of them about children in the church, but first of all, I think about creativity, and just love the colour around you in your studio here, and just there's been a number of ways that you've brought art and creativity to the church, and the painting of the beach and boat vision probably being the main one. But any comments on that in terms of your creative gifts and what that looks like for you within a church community?
Yeah. I think COVID has had a hugely disruptive effect on the creative community, and I think one of the things that Hope has always been known for is encouraging and allowing creative people to do their thing, and that's it can be anything from typography to photography. We've had people dance in church. We had at one point we had a whole lot of flag wavers, which I didn't ever quite get off on, but bless them for having a heart for that. And then when Anna Marshall, now Anna Bolter, had the vision about hope, which we published, as anyone can see, and Silas asked me to visualise it. It was an amazing experience to kind of look at that sort of prophecy and the vision for the church and put it into practice. And we started the first time, we kind of built a boat at the front of the church out of tables and mops and brooms, got people actually sat in it and posing it, and the kids helped paint that first bottom of the canvas, and it was a mess. Kids got painted blue from head to toe. Not happy with parents, but and then over the years we've added to it as it's not actually finished yet. It probably will never get finished. And I was hoping someone else would help me, but it's that's how it is. And so all of those people in there are recognisable people in the church. And I would ask them, I say, in that vision, where do you see yourself? And they would say, I'm in a boat, or I'm helping serve tea, or I'm working in a greenhouse, or in the band, and I'd paint them in. And in fact, we had the Archbishop of Canterbury came to our church one evening a few years ago, and he was interested in the prayer centre and how that worked within the city community. And I was introduced to him, and I was explaining about the vision and the painting, and I said to him, where would you see yourself in this? And there was a little table at the front with tea being served, and without a flicker a moment, he just said, I would be there serving tea to people coming off the boats. And I said, can I paint you in? And he said yes, and I took some reference pictures, and so it's the Archbishop of Canterbury serving tea right in the middle of it, which was always quite lovely. And of course Marvin, at the time I was looking for someone to pose in the vision of Jesus teaching us to mend nets, and I just thought Marvin would then make the most amazing character in terms of leadership and quiet teaching, and then he turns out to become a mayor. So in one sense it was a little bit prophetic, although it's not a prophetic painting, it's a painting of a vision that someone has.
Brilliant.
But yeah,
and that's something we can all keep looking at as a legacy thing as well, that can continue to ask that question, where would I be within this painting, what does my place within the church community look like? So that's a really. And then love to go onto children, and then we're kind of going through some of Hope's dreams here, and I think of Jesus saying, "Let the children come to me," when the religious people tried to hold him back, and I think you really sort of embodied that as well, and in the way that you've connected with children, and love to hear any thoughts you've got on that. Really, we're just
well, the church has been fantastic for our family when the children were younger. They felt relaxed. They really enjoyed coming to church, which made it coming to church for us an awful lot easier. And in the vision, the children have their own boat, and they are not only helping stock the other boats that are going out with goodies, but there's a boat that they are equipping and putting little gifts into, ready to launch. And as our kids kind of grew up through the church, both Daniel and I were involved in the youth work, and it was always a real pleasure to bring sort of creative things with that. And again, working with people like Kate Webb, who was always doing crazy theatre things and stuff. We got them to do all sorts of paintings and drawings and charcoals and books we made one time, and sort of bringing that sense of creativity to the activity of children's work. We made a film once. It's been a privilege and a pleasure. Part of the reason for us leaving is now that our children have now at secondary school. Emily's 12, Katie's 15. They've no longer got friends in the church because they kind of moved away or gone to different schools. So one of our reasons for leaving is to find them a place where they can now again make their own friends and feel at home. So that's one of our reasons for moving on.
And that's a sadness for us that is the case, and it's a challenge really going forward but recognizing how important it is as we're building community, that friendship is such a key part of that. So we need to keep on, I guess, encouraging and helping friendships and relationships to grow. Richard, thanks so much, and Daniella and Katie and Emily, it's been so precious walking with you for these years. And
can I just add that Daniela's working, so couldn't make it. I've got to say that without her support behind me, I could not have done any of the work at church, the painting or the soup run or the youth work. She has been my rock, and our family rock, and so she's on working today with deadlines, so couldn't join us, but it has been a really interesting season for us as a family, and such fond memories. It's been a privilege to be part of Hope.
Thank you. And we'll see you around. I'm sure we'll see you around the city, and we're praying for the next season for you guys as well. And there's been so much in what you've just said that calls us back to and reminds us of the vision and the culture and the dreams of Hope, and you've really embodied that. So thanks, Richard, so much.